welcome back to Y&R For Life, where we talk about all things Y&R related, where we talk about, what's going on, my predictions, things I think is going to happen. Hey, we even talk about fashion on the show because I'm a big time fashion girl, so we got to spill the tea about that from time to time. If you are new here, my question is, what took you so long to get here? And if you are returning, what's up? Long time no see. It really feels like it's been a long time. And we're going to condense this all into one video because we had a bit of a short week because I'm here in Canada, so we had our holiday. And I know in the US there was the 4th of July, so you know what? There was an older episode on for us anyway at the beginning of the week. But we'll kind of talk about that very, very briefly. You know what? It's all for the love of the show. If you like what you see, you like what you hear, it would be so kind of you to hit that like and subscribe button and smash that bell notification so that you don't miss a single video I post here on Y&R For Life. And my usual disclaimer, if you kind of don't want to know what's going on, you want to get caught up on your own, this might not be what you want to see or hear. However, I am so grateful that you are here. So again, a lot has happened. It's been kind of sleepy. I don't think it was necessarily, that kind of, robe worthy where, we need to put on the purple robe because it was that sleepy. There was some highlights for sure. And again, I'm kind of liking just talking about the different characters and kind of like what's going on. So we're kind of just going to group them together, And once again, if I forget something, I have no notes today. If I forget something, it's the nature of the beast. Anything's possible. And maybe it wasn't newsworthy or I just plumb forgot. But you know what? Let's just get into it and just see where this takes us. Okay, so who should we talk about first? Okay, well, let's talk about the one episode where and again, I'm in Canada, so I don't know if it showed the same episode in the US or other parts of the world. However, the episode that we saw was the 4th of July, where John Abbott was in it, Drusilla was in it, Neil, he was in it. One, I guess the older / newer version of, who was that? It would have been Nate. It would have been Nate that was married to Olivia. Why am I missing his name? Was that Nate? But anyway, neither here nor there. He was in there, the one that was married to Olivia. And who else was in there? We saw Blade, the photographer, when he was with Jill. And we saw Tracy when she had baby Colleen. And Brad Carlton that had to make his appearance without his shirt on. Well, that was Brad for you. Pool boy turned executive, because nobody needs any sort of formal qualifications in order to be executive at Gibault or Newman, but that's neither here nor there. Who else did we saw? We saw Mamie. Who else? I feel like I'm missing someone. We saw the older / newer Ashley, who always looked like she was always sad. I liked her, but she just always looks sad. I like Eileen Davidson. I'm a personal Eileen fan, so, such is life. So we saw them with the whole 4th of July. Oh, yes, and how could I forget? Mrs. Chancellor was on there, and Sexy Rexy, he was on there. And Esther and, what was his name? Why am I forgetting his name? It's so old. Brock. Oy vey. How could I forget Brock, Mrs. Chancellor's son? And Nina and Ryan were on the show. So again, it was a blast from the past. It was nice. It was lighthearted. You could really see how the acting has really transitioned from back then till now. So it was actually kind of cool to watch. And of course, I'm a big Drusilla fan, so please, you know, it would be so cool if she could come back on the show. I mean, I know there's been murmurings, but and I know she says she's not gonna come back on, but geez, it would be so cool if she came back. Anyway, I digress. So that was that episode. 4th of July, John was inviting like everyone under the sun, pretty much the entire cast, to come and celebrate the 4th of July with him at his house, at the pool. So that was that episode. Moving right along. Okay, let's get into what's current. Okay, so let's talk about N on his chest, Nick, and Sally Spectra. So Sally she is really like reeling over the loss of her baby, and again, my heart goes out to her character. Um, just not a nice thing. But that being said, we're in soap opera land. You know, people might sit back and say she needs to get over it, but I don't know. I I don't know. I think they might be taking this whole thing a little bit too far as it pertains to her anger. Like, okay, and I'm only talking about it from a soapland perspective. I think maybe this whole Nick, I don't like you, I don't want to say anything wrong kind of mentality. I like you, but I don't like you, and you weren't there for me, and I know you're there for, like, she's flip-flopping. Um, and her disdain for Adam at this point. I think we need to kind of calm that down a little bit, but that's just my opinion. Again, you can chime in if you feel differently. That's fine. So her basically her place looks like a hot mess. Her hotel room, because she's just been, lollygagging around the place, and woe is me. She's been doing a lot of that. So there's Crimson Lakes cups hanging around and whatever. So Adam had slipped a note under her door. I guess he was just like professing over the fact that as much as she's going through a loss, he's reeling over it as well. Baby Ava was, didn't have a chance, and it was a hard decision. Ray. Anyway, so, and on his chest, Nicholas had basically messaged Sally saying, I'm that he's coming over, and she basically said, I can't wait. So he comes over, and she's just like annoyed over this note that she received from Adam. So much so that she says this to Nick and tosses it into the garbage can right there. Whatever. So Nick's kind of defending Adam, saying, you know what, I don't think you should be so hard on him, and he's going through a loss just like you, and I've seen him, and it's just he's not in the best headspace because of this, and again, cut him some slack. So she's like, I can't believe you're taking advice from Adam, and he's like, well, I guess at this point in time I am, because again, I don't wish this on anybody. That's basically what he was getting at. So, she read the note, of course, and that was pretty much that. They went through this whole thing about how he's on this leave of absence because of Victoria, and yeah, I don't know. Victoria, you are going to get hurt. You were going to get hurt. And this was a very, very poor decision on your point to put Nicholas like right on the curbside. Just not, yeah, just wait. Just wait. Okay, so that was pretty much that. Um, Chloe ends up coming over to Sally's place, saying that, she's been holding it down. Um, and Sally's like, yeah, I know, I kind of feel like, I haven't done anything, which she hasn't. And she's going stir crazy up in her hotel room. So she basically tells Chloe at the end of it all that she is ready to get out, breathe, and get back into the saddle again. So we're going to see where that goes. Okay, so that was pretty much Sally. Nick did have a conversation with Victor Daddy-O Newman, but that's a little later on. So speaking of Daddy-O, Victor Newman, he ends up commissioning Audra. Oh, Audra. Like, I feel like I need like a drinky drink with her regarding her, because she's too much. Anyway, so Daddy-O commissions her to come over to society, and I don't know if it was breakfast, lunch, it doesn't matter. So he's basically saying, I realize that you've become acquainted with a member of my family. So, she deduces that he's speaking about Adam. So he's like, yes. And, he's basically giving her a warning. And she's like, look, I just met the dude. And, like, hold on a second, sir. And he's like, yeah, okay, like, whatever. My son is very charming. He's very convincing. And, I'm here to give you a warning. So the warning was, he's coming after Newman Media, and I don't want him to have it. So basically, try your best, Miss Thang, and make sure that my son, as convincing as he is, that he does not get his hands on Newman Media, because he is on full attack. And are you ready for basically the thunder that is coming your way? So she's like, Mr. Newman, rest assured, you know what? I can handle this. Okay, Audra. I think I'm Team Adam on this. I because Slimy Nate, he just grates right under my skin. Slimy Nate and his crazy agenda, like, be gone, Nathaniel, be gone. So I don't want this guy to have like anything. Nothing. That's to tell you. But again, that's my perspective. That's how I feel. You may feel differently, but to me, he serves no purpose. Be gone, Nathaniel, be gone. Okay, so that was Audra and Daddy-O. So now let's turn back to Audra. She is just a piece of work. When I say like predator. Okay, so let's just call him Dum Dum Kyle. Dum Dum Kyle, he is bold and brave. Like, wow. Okay, so if you don't know, this guy, he ends up ordering flowers and diamonds for Audra. Kyle, what are you thinking? So he calls up, I caught his name, Gerard. I think I talked about this in the last episode, but anyway, I digress. Calls up Gerard and says, I need like a bouquet of flowers sent, and again, whatever the sentiment was on the card without his name. He said that she would know who it was from. And oh, by the way, Gerard, I need to order, I'm thinking, diamonds. Okay, could you get me some? Because diamonds are a girl's best friend. Okay. But this, Kyle, what are you thinking? Just charge it to my account? Newsflash, Kyle, you're still married. And I don't care how much of a separation that you want to do where you're kicking Summer to the curb. And okay, fine. Summer has had a number of indiscretions. And just like I talked about, she has like a litany of charges. Okay, so why, Kyle, would you charge it to your account when your wife could easily figure this out? Not the brightest bulb. Sorry, just not the brightest bulb. He's probably working on 5 watts at this point, because why would you do that? So anyway, fast forward. Um, Summer is getting ready to go up to her room at the club, and she sees Audra right as soon as she had received the bouquet. So she receives the bouquet. Summer sees her and is like, oh, that's a beautiful bouquet of flowers and what have you. Then she happens to spot the box and said, oh, that's where my jewelry comes from. So Audra tries to play this off and say that it's probably from, Victoria, given the fact that, she is now the CEO, well, the acting CEO of Newman Media. And Summer's like, oh, okay. Because Audra's like, maybe you haven't heard. So she's like, oh, it's probably just in the box, it's probably like a fountain pen or a desk clock saying, thank you for taking whatever. And, okay. Okay, Summer, my question to you is, at this place where you get your jewelry from, do they sell fountain pens and desk clocks? Because I don't know. I'm not saying that where I go and get jewelry from that they don't have watches, but fountain pens and desk clocks? Really? From the jeweler? Unless there was diamonds on them, and that's, I don't know. Just didn't make no sense to me. But anyway, so she's like, Audra says to her, oh, are you, are you staying here? She's like, yeah, temporary, just like your position. And I was like, oh, Summer just clapped back. She clapped back at Audra. Summer, good for you. The predator, she needs to go. So, as we continue with the predator, Audra, she ends up, basically having, I don't know if she was having food or drink at the club. Kyle comes in and, you know, this guy's looking jovial as I don't know what. And he goes and just cops a seat right in front of her. And I'm thinking, you're not seeing what's wrong with this picture here, Kyle? But anyway, so he basically was, because at this point, she is wearing, child, she is wearing her diamonds. Oh, don't blame you, even though you're a predator. But okay, she's wearing those diamonds. And he's like, oh, it looks good on you. Oh, okay. Kyle, once again, you're married. Did you forget this? You're acting like you like Don Juan. Like, stop. Okay, so anyway, they kind of go back and forth with their little flirty flirt. And before you know it, she basically says to him something to the effect like, whatever would look, you could see it up in my bedroom. And she goes upstairs, and much like a little lamb, he follows, and the two of them are like hot and heavy once again. Now, here's my prediction: this guy is going to end up getting her pregnant. This is just me. Again. And it hasn't happened with Summer, but this will be the time that he will get her pregnant. So then he would end up with not one, but two children, two different mothers. So I don't know. Just saying. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to get caught because when they were in the bedroom, she didn't lock no door. And I know Summer's going to get suspicious. And it'll be one of those open the door and there they are in their skivvies. And that's just usually how it goes. So anyway, yeah, the two of them are hot and heavy. They probably hit the skins about at least 2 times. At least. So, I don't know. It's just it's a big mess. Big mess. But moving right along, let's talk about, again, a bit of a scene filler with Chelsea and Billy. Chelsea and Billy were having, allegedly breakfast, some fancy waffles, whatever, at the club. In walks Daniel, who basically is telling Chelsea about how the Omegasphere numbers for her game are like really going on an upward trajectory, and it's looking really good. And she's all happy, but in walks Summer, and Summer is like, "Oh, Chelsea, by the way, I wanted to like revisit our conversation from a couple months ago where I offered you a position at Marchetti, and yeah, so I'd really like for you to come work with me at Marchetti." So Daniel's like, "I'm sorry, sis, are you trying to poach my star employee?" So they end up going off on their own, having words, not anger, but just words about what's going on. Summer ends up telling him about this whole separation, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, can you guys not fix this?" And she's like, "Well, nothing's finalized right now. I think Kyle needs some space." Meanwhile, hello, yeah, he ends up getting as much space as he needs because this guy eventually, as I said, was up the stairs with Audra. Not at that time, but they ended up there, as I said. So anyway, back to scene filler, Chelsea and Billy. Billy ends up finding out that Summer is now, I guess, she has taken over as CEO of Marchetti. And so now that's why she wants Chelsea to take on what her position was before. And again, Billy now figures out why this is. He realizes that, Jack has made some moves where he didn't know, and he finds this out. He ends up telling Chelsea. Chelsea's feeling bad, and she's like, "Well, it kind of seemed like she was desperate. She needed somebody. What should I do?" Billy says to her, "I kind of think it's a great opportunity. If I were you, I would do it." So I feel as though Chelsea's going to end up doing this. Again, scene filler. Kind of didn't need to be there. You could have just plunked her in the position with no explanation, and I would have been cool with it. I'm sure most of us would have been cool with it because Chelsea's really not serving too much of a purpose right now. But again, 'tis what it is. So yeah, I'd like to know once again when Billy decided to become so hands-on at Jabot, but again, he's turned into like court martial. Okay, so for a hot second, we're going to talk about some fashion here. We had a moment where Diane was wearing like a burgundy type dress, and it was a like a little bit of a lighter burgundy, and I was like, "Oh, thank goodness they're hearing my outward cry." Well, I ended up, getting knocked a few pegs down when wardrobe change. Eventually, she ends up in black again. I guess they were trying to be daring with some sheer sleeves, but why the woman was in black again, I guess she's in mourning. So I figure I'm done with it. I just went, oh God, here we go again when I saw it. So, I mean, if Jack ain't complaining, dear, why are you always wearing black? This should be a happy occasion. Then who am I to say anything, right? Okay. Summer, she was wearing like this green, almost like an emerald. At one point, her and Daniel matched. I liked it. I really did. She was looking good. And at one point, she had her legs crossed when she was waiting for Michael to come in to talk to her and Daniel, and she had her legs were out. They were looking toned and great. So good for you. That dress was working. It was popping. So I'll give her that. She looked good. And at one point, Lily, I'm going to mention Lily, she had a bag which I'm sure had absolutely nothing in it. But it was almost like maybe like a bag big enough for a laptop. And she had this bag, and it had like, was like an accordion on the side, and like with some pleats, and it had different colors. That Can I get that bag? Ooh, that was a nice bag. And her, of course, her hair was looking good. So, good one. Okay, so that was the fashion. I liked it. I'm going to give it, 1.5 thumbs up. Okay, so let's talk about, God, do we have to? I'm going to just gloss over this real quick. Ugh, Slimy Nate. So, Slimy Nate meets up with Audra. I'm backtracking a bit here. He meets up with Audra. They're at Society. Audra had just landed a deal. Well, allegedly, she says it looks like it's in the bag. This deal with whoever it was, not important. And Lily had walked in on that, and so Audra basically says, "Oh, I guess you haven't heard. I'm now the CEO of Newman Media," which she feels like she needs to tell everybody. So Lily's like, "Oh, well, interesting. Um, Great. Like, how did that happen?" kind of thing. So anyway, in walks Slime and Nate, and this guy's looking like he's like the big time, the top dog. And I'm thinking, you have no formal training, Nathaniel. None whatsoever in the business world. How you scored this, I will never know. But it is what it is, once again. So Lily takes Slimy Nate aside, and she basically was like, "How are you doing? I haven't seen you since, the tribute for my dad at the jazz lounge." And he's like, "Well, thanks for asking. I'm doing okay." Da da da. He ends up spilling the beans over the fact that him and Victoria are a couple now. Oh my Lanta. Lily's like, oh, you're really going for all the heavy hitters, aren't you? You don't have no problems with this. So she's like, "I was just about to warn you about her and Audra and whatnot, but you making your rounds. Okay, okay." So yeah, that didn't fare well. So yeah, I think that's all I'm going to talk about Slimy Nate, because like really that was that was pretty much it. I'm done with him. Ugh. He's like a bad rash. Just ugh. Okay, so who can we talk about now? We're just about done here. We're gonna wrap this up very shortly. Okay, so yeah, Jack and Diane. Jack is like goo goo gaga over Diane still, so much so that he's like, "Marry me now," and "Will you be my girl?" And it was it was totally like the movie My Girl. So yeah, I guess they're gonna get married sooner than later. I don't know. But Smiling Jack, that's just how he is. Tucker and Ashley, aka, they're like Laurel and Hardy, Abbott and Costello, sorry. Um, they are hysterical. There was one line that Tucker said when he was trying to mimic Jack. Um, Flim flam, man, and charlatan. I about died. So he was mimicking him or making fun of him while they were at society at the bar, because they're a bunch of flip-floppers. One minute they're at the house, the next minute they're at society, the next minute they may be at the lounge. Like, they're all over the place. And I can't quite tell. I mean, I know Ashley really cares about Tucker, but I can't really tell if she really, like, really, really cares. But okay. So yeah, they annoy Diane, and of course Diane annoys them, and yeah, that was pretty much it was just a back and forth, you know. Oh, because Jack finds out that they have started a company. So we're gonna see where this war is going to go, because this is just now the brew, it's brewing, and he's found out. So now it's going to be a lot of tit for tat. That's what's going to be. So we're going to see where this goes, and hope for the best. We saw that Abby and um, Devon, they decide that they're going to move into the Chancellor Mansion. Devon offers his penthouse to Lily. Lily eventually accepts, and yeah. So little Dominic's gonna be back in the Chancellor Mansion, and Chance has already found some apartment. Once again, I feel as though maybe in you know, just trying to stick it to him with Kyle. I feel like Summer and Chance. Again, I have this just it's like eerie feeling that the two of them may end up, doing their little business at some point in time. Because I don't think that it's going to pan out between Chance and Sharon. I just don't think so. Sharon had a couple scene fillers, not even worth mentioning, really. So, yeah, her and Adam, her and Nick, like, not really worth mentioning. Okay, so, yeah. Are we done? Like, did we talk about all the people? Let me just see. Okay, so we talked about Tucker and Ashley. We talked Jack. Okay, I know. I got it. I got it here. Hang tight. This is the last one I'm going to talk about, because pretty much everything else, it was what it was. So Phyllis, she is back in her one of her multiple disguises, which we know it's you, Phyllis. Oh my God. Like, enough already with this, you know, wig and glasses. And anyway, she meets Michael at the park, and she basically says, she wants to come out of hiding now, and she wants to kind of make things right. I don't know how you're going to do this, Phyllis. We'll see where that goes. Michael ends up meeting Summer and Daniel at the club and tells them this. And he's going to see what he can do, but he, of course, can't make any promises. And yeah. So, again, Phyllis, I don't know what you're going to do, but eventually I know you're going to get off and everything's going to go back to the way that it was. I know Ashley is waiting for you to come out of hiding because I'm assuming she wants you to help her once again, the albeit trifecta, when it was Ashley, Phyllis, and Nikki. But I don't know. I don't think Nikki's going to be part of the trifecta anymore. Maybe they will, find somebody else to join. Maybe Summer. I don't know, because Summer basically gave Diane a piece of her mind, saying that she tested her with trying to help her, for her to help her with her marriage, and that she failed miserably. Yeah, it it was what it was. So yeah, I think that's about it. There you have it, folks. That was pretty much the week. Again, anything I forgot probably wasn't newsworthy, or again, just plumb forgot it. It is what it is. But you get the gist of what happened throughout this week. Again, we had the one really old episode, which was nice to watch, and then the rest was a little bit of a snore fest here and there, but I don't think it was quite Purple Robe worthy, where it was a sleeper. But it did have its moments. Again, let's look out for Kyle this week. Let's hope he gets caught real soon, because like Audra bothers me, and his little attitude right now where he feels like he's like on top of the world to be flaunting this affair, where even Audra was like, "Oh, like basically you're like I like your attitude because you kind of seem like you don't care." And he's like, I ain't got nothing to hide. I'm thinking, I think you do, but that's just me. That's just the way I think. And I mean, I wouldn't do it, but do you, man. Just do you. So, once again, thank you so much for sticking around. If you stayed till the end, I'm so grateful that you were on this journey with me. It's so much fun being able to talk about this show that I absolutely love, and I really appreciate your support. And again, if you like this type of content, you like what you see, you like what you hear, it would be so great if you could hit that like and subscribe button and hit that bell notification so that you don't miss a single video I post here on Y&R For Life. It has been my absolute pleasure. I love you lots, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care. Bye.